Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Nerd Mode On, and I'll be doing a gameplay commentary over some Battlefield 4. In this particular installation, I'll be using the LAV to start things off, and overall, I do enjoy this specific vehicle. I find it to be very effective against infantry because, well, in most cases you kind of look at them and go, well, you're just kind of a small little target. The splash damage from the shells is going to do a sufficient amount of damage, even if I don't direct impact you, and I do have plenty of them to go around. So, definitely infantry are something of a little cute thing. You're kind of like, oh, he's so cute. He's trying to shoot me with his RPG. But in the reality aspect of it, you kind of just splash some shells around, maybe shoot at the top of the building, the roof of it. He'll eventually die, maybe shoot at the ground, and, he'll bleed out and lose his legs. So definitely try to take that in consideration when you're using the vehicle. However, I want to let you guys know that tanks are something to be dealt with. There's something that you really have to know your positioning, because positioning in Battlefield has always been a #1 priority. And, in most cases, some of us do it pretty well. I can kind of do it great in some aspects, but just like anybody, human error is something that we have to include into the equation. So, you die sometimes when you're like, oh, well, I was standing in the middle of the street. I didn't think somebody saw me. It's kind of something like that. You're like, well, you're kind of dumb in that aspect. But overall, I kind of want to talk with you guys a little bit about positioning, because may that be real life or may that be just video games or whatever you're doing. If you can position yourself in the right spot, you can predict what's going to occur. I don't think anybody can disagree that it's going to give you a huge competitive advantage because, well, and you guys have probably noticed throughout history and or just, playing the game by yourself, that you'll notice the guys that are maybe ahead of the curve are always doing a lot better than the people that are just kind of jumping in there for the first time. And that's just something to take into account. So, try to realize that every particular angle that you are looking at also has a counter angle. Everything you're doing also has a counter. And if you can try to minimize that counter, you're going to quickly find that you're going to be able to obliterate the opposition without them even knowing what's going on. And it's going to make you a better player overall. And that's something that I'm trying to do a lot better of. And I'm really trying to press forward with trying to minimize the angles that I give to my opponents, because I'm not the best at close quarter combat. I get a little shaky when it comes to the mouse and that, and if I can try to keep my engagements where I'm sufficient at, which is medium range, I'm going to quickly find out that, they're not going to have much of a chance. So, I would recommend you guys do the same. But when it comes down to it, guys, I want to talk with you a little bit more about how to destroy a tank in an LAV or a BTR or whatever specific vehicle you're in. But when it comes down to it, you guys are going to quickly find out that tanks are good for a couple of things. One, they can take massive amount of damage and not really lose a whole lot of health. And two, when they do return fire at you, it's a huge amount of damage being pressed onto you because, well, that vehicle does have multiple kind of shells. The standard ones do about 30. If you use the high explosive, they're going to do around 40. So you got to be careful. You got to really realize what's going on, because if you're behind the curb, you're going to be dead. And it doesn't take a whole lot of shots from a tank to really minimize and maximize the performance it can do. So in an LAV, you really want to try to press at a 90-degree angle. If you can hit it in the side, or even better, if you can shoot it in the back of the vehicle, it's going to be the best damage output you can acquire. And especially since you're in an LAV or a BTR, you're going to quickly find that, those shells do sufficient damage. It's just you got to know where to hit. If you're trying to shoot the tank in the front where the most armor is at, you're only going to be picking up like, 6 to 9 damage, and that's not a whole lot when you take in comparison to a tank shell, because as soon as that hits you, your health is going to drop by 30 to 40%, and it's not going to take a whole lot of more hits to really destroy you. And we're even talking just about a front shot. If a tank hits you in the back, you're disabled in one hit. So you really got to know what's going on. You got to really try to minimize the angles that you're giving to the opposition, because if you don't, well, you're going to die, and nobody wants to die in Battlefield. That sucks. But that's what I would say for you guys. Trying to give you guys a couple more tips along the way. Really try to focus on positioning like we talked about before, and you'd be surprised. Active protection can do a lot for you in those dangerous situations, especially if you're getting hit by RPGs, javelins, and the list goes on. Really try to realize and understand the circumstances you're in, and if you do, well, you're going to be a lot better off. And overall, I hope those tips helped you guys. If you guys have anything else you'd like to add to the conversation, just let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace, guys.